Welcome to this tutorial for a early game starter bone meal farm, where you convert bone meal and moss into more moss, which converts into bone meal. So if you bone meal some moss in stone, or any stone like block, then it will convert the stone into moss. Moss can be broken together with all the other things that spawn on top of it, and can be composted for more bone meal, with more bone meal coming out of it than you put in. There is large, super effective farms that are super loud and super fast, but you usually need the bone meal in the beginning of the game already, like day one of the server, if you're playing on a server. And this is easier to build than some mob farms. So this is a poor man's bone meal farm. All you need is available in a few hours from starting the server. You need about a stack of logs and 105 pieces of iron to get 20 hoppers and 5 pistons. You need 4 pieces of nether quartz for an observer and 2 redstone comparators. You need some buckets, 2 spruce trapdoors, 2 comparators, 10 repeaters, some redstone, a little bit of bone meal. You need to start the whole cycle up first. You need to find yourself a moss block. You can either find that in a lush cave or in some sunken shipwrecks. 1 dispenser, 2 droppers, 2 stairs, and 1 redstone torch, and a bunch of building blocks. Doesn't have to be glass, but glass looks good. The whole farm has a size of 8 deep, 11 wide, and 14 long. It makes sense to build this farm inside of a chunk. So if you do F3 and G, you can see the chunk borders. Because both the clock that is running the farm and the stone generator that makes the stone for the moss can break if they're unloaded piece by piece instead of just the whole farm at once. So it makes sense to build a whole farm, at least the parts that are important, inside of one chunk. If you have found your chunk, you can just go ahead, start with a chest, get some hoppers, and make this as large as you want. 1 hopper points into the bottom dropper. The hopper above that points to the side, into another hopper that points down, over, and into a chest. So that the overflow of the bone meal goes into the chest, but first the dropper is being filled up. If you stagger the chest like this, you can also use the output of the top chest, the fill level of it, to turn off the farm once it's full. These hoppers are important because depending on where you placed your first chest, it will point to the center of the farm, which is being the dropper pointing up into the central moss block to be bone milled. Around that you want a platform, like around the dropper you want a platform of a 9x9 of any solid block, just so that the moss blocks that are being popped up, that they don't fall out of the farm but on top of the farm, so they can get flushed over. Above the dispenser, when you start the farm up, building it, you want a moss block. You need it as a cedar block. And in front of the moss block you need 1 block that cannot be pushed by a piston. That can be a furnace, that can be obsidian, that can be a dropper, whatever you want. Just make sure that it's a full block. Don't use a chest. You need to fill in the top with stone or granite, diorite, andesite, any of those. Deep slate works as well. You can cheap out on the corners here, because the shape that the moss converts stuff is it doesn't have corners, as you can see here. These corners are not converted, so you can cheap out on those, and you don't need hoppers there. You have the hoppers pointing into some composters. One composter is, as far as I tested it, not able to keep up with it. 3 is overkill, but it works. If you only go with 2, then you save on 1 hopper. Just have them point backwards and downwards into the composter. Have the composters point into the line, and the line, as I showed earlier, point into the bottom dropper. Then on the one side, on the opposite side to the hoppers, this is the central block. You have the unpushable block, 3 blocks, and then you have your stone generator, which works by having stairs that let water flow over, and water flows on top of it, so that stone generates. You want to push that stone out with some pistons, 5 pistons. Waterlogged stairs to the side. Make sure to properly encase it in blocks so that the water doesn't spill out and ruin your redstone. A line of redstone activating those pistons. You can place your observer here. The observer is there to activate the pusher twice for every time that the bone meal is being activated and the water streams are being activated. Over to the side you have your trapdoors. They don't need to be iron trapdoors, they can be wooden trapdoors. Next to that a block. Repeater pointing into that. And have your redstone line come in from both sides here. Then it goes down, and here is the heart of the farm. This is a repeater clock, which is being fired by this comparator. The timings are important. The comparator takes this signal from this torch, which can later turn off the farm. The instant output goes out to the droppers. It points to the middle dropper, which will activate all 3 of these, so items will be pushed instantly up the whole thing. So if you first make this farm, make sure that there is 1 bone meal in the dispenser, 1 bone meal in this dropper, and 1 bone meal in this dropper. Maybe some more bone meal down here, because it takes a moment for the stuff to be converted to bone meal to reach this spec down here. Then these timings are important. These also work on servers. Repeater with 4 ticks. 3 of them. Then these sides to let it go back. 4 more repeaters on 4 ticks. A repeater on 1 tick. Pointing into redstone that points back into the comparator. And that redstone snakes up to the sides here, which activates the trapdoors and the pushes for the stone generator. Then make sure that you have a too high wall on the sides so that the items, when they pop off, don't fall out of the farm. And that is pretty much it. You can see like the length over here and all that. Oh, make sure that the comparator is on subtract mode so that the light is on. This comparator over here doesn't need that. As I said, if this fills up with bone meal, this will give a signal out. The longer this line is, the fuller the chest has to be. Just make sure that it's not over 15 blocks for this to turn off. You can also go ahead and just put a lever on the side here. If I let's break this real quick. You can just turn this on. When the lever is down, the farm will be turned off as well. It takes 1 cycle for it to be turned off. That is it for this tutorial for Poor Man's bone meal farm. And yeah, if you want to know more, if you want to talk to me about contraptions, that I made that you're interested in, you can come to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Vidapo. Should also be linked in the description, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye bye.